speak on road safety audit. Sir, welcome, sir. Mukund Rao Garu. A brief about the speaker will be given by Vijaya ma'am. Ma'am, please continue. Sir, welcome, sir. Mukund, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am, Kanti, ma'am. Please, you
Yes.
can speak.
Yes, thank you. Good morning,
Vijaya
one and
ma'am,
all.
on your video. On your video.
Can you see me, ma'am?
No, ma'am. No, you're not visible.
The video is on.
We cannot see you. Okay, no problem. You continue, ma'am.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the second day of the faculty development program. We are fortunate to have Dr. Mukund Rao sir, MSS, to present his paper on road safety audit. I'd like to introduce Dr. Mukund to all of the August audience here. Dr. Rao is an associate professor from Geetham Institute of Technology and Management in the Civil Engineering Department, Visakhapatnam. He specializes in traffic operations and safety, GIS and GPS applications in civil engineering, road safety audit and air pollution modeling studies. He holds a PhD from the United States, and he's a graduate of Andhra University. He has 6 major publications in international journals and conducted many trainings and workshops in GIS applications and road safety. He is an advisor for the Andhra Pradesh Traffic Police on intersection and road segment design improvements. He holds professional memberships with American Society of Civil Engineers and Indian Road Congress. On personal level, he is my mentor and a guide. I'm sure Dr. Rao holds many merits. These are just a few to introduce him to all of you. Today, he is presenting on road safety audit, which is a current trend in India, and we hope that everyone will be benefited by his presentation. Thank you, sir, for joining today. We are honored to have you amongst us. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the introduction. Good morning, one and all. Today's presentation is mainly related to road safety. So we'll start with general numbers, with world scenario, how does it do in India, and finally we'll end up our presentation using road safety audit. So what is a road safety audit, how to do it, when to do it, so on. So all the stuff we'll try to look into it. So let me start my presentation. Okay. Ma'am, hope it's visible. Okay, so this is a outline of my presentation today. Again, first we'll talk about the global and national scenario. What do the numbers look like? What are the major events that have happened on the road safety side? And next we'll try to look more into transportation aspect of it, or more like transportation engineering, where we'll talk about speeds, side distances, so on and so forth. How to design more safer roads, how to design more safer intersections. So that will be the second topic. And the next we'll talk about a couple of slides regarding what is the concept of safe road. So when can I come up with that type of concepts? So what do I require? And finally, then we'll conclude our today's guest lecture or presentations with road safety audit, which is the main one. When do I need to do it? How do I do it? And what are the things I have to cover in that one? So coming to the first one, again, as most of you are aware of, from the point we wake up to we go to a work or school, so everyone are involved in one or other sort of transportation, whether it is walk, cycling, or two-wheeler car, whatever it is. So we are using some sort of transportation mode for our day-to-day commute. So as you can see these are some of the figures which are globally happening. Again, about 50 million people are injured. That's about 5 crore injured in traffic crashes yearly. And in that, about 1.35 million, about 13.5 lakh die each year. That's about 3,700 deaths per day. So these numbers are scary, but again, they differ from city to city, country to country, based on its socio-economic conditions. We'll see a couple of points in the following slides. But again, of which the fatalities which we talk about, more than 50% of them are mainly the vulnerable road users who are susceptible to more severity when a crash happens. They are mainly the pedestrians, cyclists, or the two-wheelers, which are mainly come under motorcyclists. And there are many other reasons for a person having a premature death, but especially in the age of 5 to 29 years, that's again, it's budding age from the childhood to maybe the starting of one's career. Traffic injuries are considered as one of the leading cause, especially from 5 to 10, it is number 2, and I think 10 to 29 years, it is number 1 cause for fatality. And the other one, if you see, it's an interesting statistics. Low and middle income countries account for about 93% of the world's fatalities. On the flip side, if you see, they contain only 60% of the vehicles, but the fatalities account for 93. So there are various other reasons, maybe better infrastructure facilities in the high income countries, so on and so forth. So the first major event that happened globally on the road safety happened in the year 2009. That's in Russia. It happened. That's the first global ministerial conference in 2009. And immediately after that, identifying the importance of the road safety, the United Nations General Assembly, they proclaimed that, okay, from now onwards, the 10 years, the next decade, we'll decide as a decade of action. That's we are going to do promote road safety to the maximum, where we can increase fatalities and we can improve conditions of drivers or pedestrians or other users on the road. So depending on this proclamation, year 2011 to 2020, that's the complete decade, was officially declared as decade of action for road safety. So this is, they come up with the emblem and they come up with the booklet. And this program mainly is based on 5 pillars. As you can see, the main intention of this decade of action is they want to come with a plan of action, whether it's at a country level or a state level or at a local level. And this plan of action, it's mainly dependent on these 5 pillars. As you can see, one is mainly on road safety management. The second one is coming up with safer roads. The third one is how to develop safer vehicles. And the fourth is mainly road users. And the fifth one, once the crash happens, how to improve the condition of the victim. So again, these 5 pillars, every pillar has its own focus or its own highlight. As you can see here, the first one is the road safety management. This one is mainly for the governmental bodies, like do they really have a road safety cell, or do they really have an agency that takes care of the road safety? So if not, they have to come up with that. So the first part is mainly concentrated on strengthening the institutional capacity, whether it is at national level or state level or at local bodies. The second is how to improve roads. As we already saw, more than 50% of the fatalities, pedestrians, bicyclists, and motorcyclists. So how can we improve the road conditions, especially keeping these vulnerable road users in view? And the third one is more like vehicle design modifications. Again, how to produce more vehicles, better vehicles with new technologies, so that they can be more safer on the roads. And the it is mainly educational programs for the road safety users. Now we can see they celebrate different days dedicated to each incident. So similarly, how can we promote, or how can we educate people, whether it is from a high school level or a educational institute level or just city level. So how can we introduce programs that improve the safety among the road users? And fifth one, it mainly intends on promoting the after the crash happens, how does the treatment of the patient happens, as of the victim happens? So as I think most of you are aware of, the first 1 hour of the crash is known as the golden hour. So if you could get the person or victim to the closest hospital or a medical facility, the chances of survival of the victim are very, very high. So to achieve this target, obviously we need to improve healthcare facilities or maybe ambulance facilities and other emergency treatment. So this particular pillar 5, it mainly focuses on how to improve the crash response once the crash has been occurred. Why did they come up with this decade of action? This graph is, as you can see, a triangle. One line goes up, one line goes down. 2011, at that time, it's about 1.3 million fatalities per year. So after they had their first road safety worldwide conference, one of the ideas they wanted to come up with is, unless we do something, this keeps on increasing. So if they didn't take any action on the road safety, they're obviously, as per the studies, they thought by 2020, that's 2020, it would cross 1.8 million fatalities per year. So if we try to do something in the next decade, maybe we'll try to decrease this graph. Instead of going up, maybe the particular graph, it might be coming downwards. So this is the main reason why they came up with the decade of action plan for the 10 years, especially their main intention is to save few million lives. Every life is precious. So if they could save, at that time they estimated about 5 million. We'll just show like how did it progress. So this is, again, this happened in 2010, and the action plan is from 2011 to 20. That's for decade. The second major conference on road safety, this happened in Brazil in 2015. That's about midpoint from 2011 to 2020. The midpoint is 2015. So at that time, I want to say, okay, how we kept a target in 2011. How is it progressing? Are we attaining our targets, or is it going worse or better? So it's more like a retrospection at the particular midpoint time of the decade. So at the middle of the decade, conference, about 2,200 delegates, as you can see, they signed up Brazilian Declaration of Road Safety, where they would like to cut down the traffic deaths by half. I think we had about 1.5 million in 2015. So by doing something more aggressively, they want to cut down that 1.5 million to about 750,000 deaths. So this is even today, most of the road safety agencies mainly work on this Brazilian Declaration of Road Safety, which intends, again, to cut down all the fatalities on the road by at least 50%. So this is the emblem they came up with. And similarly, as we had 5 pillars in the decade of action plan, here also they had a few points, but not exactly like the previous ones, but they added a few more additional points. Like, for example, if you see the first one, they want to come up with more stricter rules and more. So what different countries do on this, we'll try to see in the following slides. And second one is, again, to promote other modes of transportation. So previously we talked about only safer roads, like making roads more safer for pedestrians or two-wheelers or bicyclists. But here, not only that, this Brasilia declaration, it also wants to concentrate on new types of or new sustainable modes of transportation, maybe transportation. So they included a few more points apart from the decade of action plan. Okay. And coming, so this is, as you can see, this is about 2014 numbers. On the right-hand side, if you see the total number of people killed in traffic fatalities countrywide, and the left-hand side graph, it indicates the number of people per 1 lakh population. So obviously on the right hand side, India is unfortunately on the top list because of its huge numbers. But on the left hand side graph, if you can see, when we compare per thousand population, we are doing slightly better. I don't say we are doing good, but we are doing, yes, slightly better when compared to some of the other countries like, let's say, USA or Russia. And this gives a picture of, okay, numbers always might not give the correct picture. If I say, okay, 125,000 and we are worst, but when you try to see, is it 125,000 people dying out of maybe 110 crore or out of 30 crore, it makes a difference. So especially the picture on the left-hand side is a much meaning to the numbers of fatalities, as depending on the type of the country and depending on the total population of the country, the rate is decreased. So here we stand about 9th place when you consider total number of fatalities per 1 lakh people. So when we especially come to Indian subcontinent or our government. So India is also one of the countries that signed the Brasilia Declaration. So again, as I said, we want to decrease all our crashes that happened in 2015 by 50% when we reach 2020. Unlike the world fatalities, which we saw about 1.3 lakh people, here in India we are slightly on the higher side because of the more dense population. And certainly, when we consider all the fatalities in the world, India comes to about 11% of all the total numbers. An interesting table, you can see that the state highway and the national highways, when we consider of the total road network, they are only about 5%. But the fatalities, you can see, they are about 61%. So only 5% of the road network in our country, they translate or they take part of about 61% of deaths. Main reasons being, okay, the infrastructure is quite good, whether it's national highway or state highway when compared to all the other roads, which are mainly major district, minor district, or rural roads, as well as the speeds are higher. More traffic is flying on these national highways and state highways when compared to the other roads. So again, here also the same thing. Big network doesn't mean more crashes. As you can see, even 2% of national highway road network is costing about 35% of the total fatalities in India. This is interesting graph. You can see this from 2005 to 2011, before the action. So it's progressing. It's a gradually for the 6 years, here 7 years. So after, if you can see, this is what happened since the decade of action plan took place. So it's relatively, the curve is more flat rather than rising, because if the previous trend, by maybe 2020, we should have reached about 1.8 or 1.9 fatalities. But because of the actions taken worldwide, or because of the road safety program within the country, the curve, it became more flat, which is a positive sign, because the number of vehicles keep on growing, the population keep on growing, and the number of crashes also increased. But the fatalities in those crashes, they are more like stagnant for the last almost 8 to 9 years with very slight changes. So this is again one good outcome of the decade of action plan. Some of the measures that were taken by the central government, especially at a national level, again, state level and local government, they did their own measures, but at a national level, for any type of road project, whether it's new construction or reconstruction of something existing, a safety consultant has been appointed for any major project. And also there has been a special cell that mainly talked about, or that mainly dealt with the road safety. That's one of the main road safety initiative with the help of World Safety Bank, National Highway Authority of India did it. And previously, the national highway, it's mainly in the construction planning aspect, but it never took care of the road safety measures. But now we can see they started collecting the accident or crash related information on a daily basis as well as a monthly basis. So most of the project in charge offices in different places around the country of national highway, they do maintain database of daily or monthly crashes on their respective jurisdictional roads. And apart from that, again, nationally as well as on a state level or a local level, many workshops and seminars have been organized for different sets of people, as it maybe it might be school or college or adults. So for different categories of people, workshops and seminars have been arranged. That's one of the road safety measures that has been done at a national level. And the next primary thing which took, we'll talk more about it during the last half of this presentation, the road safety audits. So previously, these were never given that much high priority. But once the Decade of Action Plan started, as well as maybe from 2015, the Brasilia and the conference started, the road safety audits have been given a higher priority. So whether it's at design stage, construction, pre-opening stage, or operation and maintenance stage, we'll talk about each of them in detail in the second half of the presentation. And as most of you are aware of, right now in the bill got passed in the Lok Sabha, the road transport and the safety bill. This is one of the major enforcement and legislative thing that most of the road safety people are looking at, because this one, it involves more stricter fines. It's very hard to get out of if you do something bad related to road safety, because this one previously the fines have been increased quite to a higher bit, as well as the sentences are more severe right now. So it's the bill. That's the reason it's taking almost for about 6 to 7 years to clear various steps in the parliament to come out of it. So far we just talked about what are the different global issues and national issues and their numbers. So now if we want to see, okay, when I'm designing for a road network, let it be links means just a straight road, or maybe I can also when I'm designing at an intersection, I need to take some prior safety measures so that I need not feel sorry later. So we'll just go through what are the different things that I have to care for safety when I'm talking about links, that is just a road network. And most of these aspects, they come under transportation engineering, like the geometric features. So we'll be talking each one of them briefly. So when I talk about a safer road design, so what exactly are the principles behind that? So as you can see here, a safe road environment means, when do I call a road as a safe environment? So it should warn the driver ahead if there are any unusual features that are coming on his way in the front. The second one, it should also inform like how are the conditions coming ahead. So as most of you are aware of, let's say there's a curve coming ahead. So how do I inform the driver? By keeping a traffic sign. So these are the different scenarios, how I make road more safer. So as well as I can also guide through some unusual sections, maybe some road sections, they require special conditions or special driving conditions to be followed. So obviously here also, I should the road should be able to guide the drivers that are taking in that particular section, and how it should also control the number of conflict points between two different drivers when arriving at an intersection. So again, we'll talk about it later in the presentation, like what are the different ways that you can control a conflict point. One of the best thing most of you are aware of, either a traffic circle or a roundabout. And also the last one is one of the most important one. So even though, let's say has been a driving failure for one case. The safe road, it should accommodate that, okay, even though the driver did some mistake, it shouldn't punish him severely. So it should forgive him to some extent. I have a couple of slides later about forgiving roads. We'll talk about that one also. So again, a safe road environment is one which provides, as you can see, no surprises. So when the driver is driving, he shouldn't feel some surprise element during his driving tenure. It should be a pleasant drive and a comfortable drive. And also, whatever information is required, let it be the city, the information regarding the road conditions or the directional signs or availability of the next fuel station, food, so on and so forth. So all the relevant information also should be available. And coming to the next part, this is something which most of you went through your transportation engineering 1 syllabus, which is considered as one of the key thing for any road safety aspect. So road alignment. So again, road alignment, simply it's nothing but how does the center line of the road go? So whether it's going up, down, or left or right. So all of that will be classifying as a road alignment. And we'll quickly go through the different cross-sectional elements, the horizontal alignment, that is the horizontal curves, and the vertical alignment. And there are a couple of case studies which we'll just talk about, especially in road safety aspect of view. And there are a combination of horizontal and vertical alignment, which is pretty common in most of the highway locations in and around hills. And last one is again, a critical one, a side distance, which is one of the major thing to consider, especially at the intersections. So first one, some of the points that has to be remembered, especially during geometry design, that is when I'm designing the road itself. So while designing the road itself, excuse me, so the safety aspect should be considered. So it's not like, okay, I have designed the road as per the code book and let it go. Sometimes it doesn't work, even though the code books are provided for safety design. So those sometimes they might be bare minimal. So we always need to consider the road safety aspect into consideration while doing the design aspect. And before again, from planning to final construction, when I started my planning of a road network, and to the when I almost complete my road construction, all these the 4 parameters you can see: road user characteristics, vehicle characteristics, design speed, and side distance. Limitations caused by them have to be considered. So we can't really omit any one of these during, again, from planning to the final construction of any road network. So when we talk about codes, these are the different codes that promote road safety to one aspect or other. Again, these are mainly for urban road in plain areas where most of the city roads come into code IRC 106, and especially for rural highways and 4-laning and 6-laning highways, they have very specific codes, and most of these codes are being revised. As you can see, the manual of specifications for 4-laning roads, they have revised about 6 years back. So most of the other IRC codes also are being revised, keeping in aspect of the road safety. And we talked about before horizontal alignments. These are mainly horizontal curves that come along when we drive, as some of them are unavoidable because maybe I can't go through a hill. So obviously I need to a hill or obstruction. So obviously I need to plan for a curve. So planning for a curve, those curves should be, again, they should be consistent with the speed requirements. So especially we see many accidents happening on curves. That's one of the reason is because it is pretty unsafe to overtake on curves. So especially if there are certain locations where there is a potential that there might be accident happening in those curves. So while designing stage itself, I need to take enough care to provide enough side distance, or if the side distance is inadequate, then obviously I need to decrease the speed on that curve. So either I can do by providing some signs or road markings, or maybe sometimes physical barrier at the center of the road, so that divides both the traffic in both the directions. And the other one, you can see especially if there's a straight road for a longer distance. Obviously, the driver will feel monotony and maybe sometimes he might feel drowsy. So instead of providing a straight road all the time, it's always suggested to provide some horizontal curves with large radius. Means again, it won't be perfectly straight. It will be of some curvature so that the driver will be alert to some extent. Okay, it's not a straight road, so there's a curve, so I have to be alert. So depending on the topography of the area, most of the time the straight roads are not suggested all the time. If it is unavoidable, it is okay, but wherever there's a possibility, then it's always good to provide large radius horizontal curves. That is again to keep the driver in the driving mode. And vertical curves. We have few examples. After this, I'll try to show. Again, vertical curves, whether it is a sag curve or a crust curve, the issue is always with the side distances. So how do I provide enough side distance, especially during night time? It is the headlight side distance. During the daytime, it is overtaking side distance. So I'll show you some of the pictures, how it should be done. And broken back curves. So there's one example in the following slide. I'll show you what's a broken back curve and how it should be avoided. And again, frequent curves in the vertical profile. Maybe first, to some extent, it's one type of slope, and after second extent, there's a sudden dip, and again, their slope might be there. So such things also should be avoided. Again, I'll also share you those what do I exactly mean in type of pictures, then later curves. And again, the last one you can see, we talked about sag curves, especially if a curve is going below underpass. So how it has to be taken care of also we'll try to show. Till now we just talked about only horizontal and only vertical curve, but in reality most of the time it will be a combination of both. So maybe it might be a horizontal curve but with inclined elevation. So these are something which has to be designed very, very carefully, because again, designing only horizontal and only vertical is one aspect, but when I combine both of them, then obviously the effect or the safety aspect has to be considered at much higher peaks. So some of the examples. So this is a broken back curve I was talking about. So as you can see, there's one curve on the left-hand side, and again immediately after that, a vertical curve has happened. So I agree there are two different aspects. So one is a horizontal one and the other is a vertical curve. But instead of those two, it can be made into one single radius curve for better negotiating of the driver. So again, it feels driver more comfortable while driving on this picture on the right rather than driving on the picture on the left. And the other one, when I was talking about vertical curves. So again, as you can see on the picture on the left-hand side, there's a road going on upgrade. Then again, there's a small dip, and again, the second road going on the down. So again, you can see the profile at the bottom. So the dark line is the picture on the left, which is okay. There's one road going at a certain slope, and there's a dip, and the road going at a certain road. So for better driving purposes and for better road safety aspect, the dip can be eliminated. So instead of the proposed is the dotted line. So the right hand side picture is, again, it doesn't have multiple vertical slopes. It's only one vertical slope without any dip. So again, these are the aspects that have to be taken care before or during the design, planning or design of any road itself. So because as you can see, once constructed, whether this example or this example, it will be a very expensive affair to correct that particular curves. And the other one is the side distance. As we talk about, again, it is directly related to the safety aspects, whether it's at intersection or whether it's at T intersections or highways. So again, we have different types of vehicles using road, and those different vehicles have, again, different types of acceleration abilities, different types of braking abilities. And again, as you can see, whether when you're talking about larger vehicles, obviously they require more distance to stop because of more momentum because of their weight. But at the same time, the driver will be sitting at a much higher elevation so that he will have a better view of the road conditions that are coming ahead of him. And again, this one, I can't take a single approach worldwide, and I can't impose any standards, mainly because every country has its own driver behavior and driving patterns. Maybe some road safety aspect points can be considered, but again, we can't implement complete transportation industry related standards throughout the world. So that's something which has to be taken care at a country level, where depending on the behavior, driver behavior in that particular country of particular reason, rules can be adopted. And the last one, again, you can see vegetation. For example, here it's a curve, and when there's a vegetation on the one side, which really doesn't allow me to look who is coming in the opposite direction. And if the speeds are higher in such situation, then obviously those vegetation has to be removed or trimmed off so that my side distance will not be affected. So these are the different side distances related safety aspects that need to be considered. Some of them are during operational stage, or some of them during design stage itself. Again, most of us know that this side distance is directly related to the speed of travel. So the higher the speed of travel, the more distance are required to stop. Especially most of our highways, they are designed for national highways. They are designed for 100 kilometers per hour speed, especially if they are on a plain surface. So the safe stopping side distance is about 180 meters. But again, safe means everything is working absolutely fine. Means my brakes are working absolutely fine. I have a 2.5 second my reaction time, and the road surface is perfect. My tire surface is perfect. So the best scenario is 180 meters, but we can't take that scenario while designing the road. So you can see here the desirable minimum side distance usually 2 times of the stopping side distance. So especially on highways, when you're designing for 100 kilometers per hour, the side distance minimum should be available is about 360 meters. This is something that has to be considered. Unfortunately, in our area, let's say in surrounding of Visakhapatnam, the National Highway 16, which is not designed for a 100-kilometer road, but it has been a Grand Trunk road, which has been slightly modified at different stages. So whatever road, 4-lane road we are looking at right now, it is not designed for a 100-kilometer per hour speed. Whereas if you say, let's say if you take road from Anakapalli, maybe towards Rajahmundry or towards Vijayawada, that road has been specifically designed for a 100-kilometer stretch, where the side distances are up to the mark. Whereas in our road, it's an old road which we have been improved to serve as a national highway. So we can't really expect these minimum side distances to be available in some of the roads where conditions are restrained. And again, side distances at vertical curves, as we talked about, it's mainly the stopping side distance and the overtaking side distance. And the bottommost, the bottom part, you can see the sag curve, where nighttime headlight is the main constraint. How far my headlights can show. So that's the most safest speed I can go. And again, the side distance also completely dependent on that. And these are the different cross-section elements. Most of your the carriageway, like the width of the roadway, and the part of roadway after the carriageway ends, that is shoulders and footpaths. So every aspect has its own road safety thing built in it. I'll just show you a couple of things that can be pointed out, especially in road safety category. Okay, so I'll quickly skip a couple of slides so that shoulders, again, as we talked about, shoulders are the space right at the end of the carriageway. And there are different purposes of the shoulder. Sometimes they can be used for parking of under emergency conditions. And again, if you don't demark those shoulders using the edge line marking, then maybe people will start using the shoulder also as a travel lane in some instances. So obviously, the line markings also should be perfect, so that to make sure that, okay, the drivers will be staying only on the main carriageway, they won't be using the shoulders, especially if they are paved, not use the shoulders as a travel lane. And again, shoulder cross slopes. So once the shoulders end, the cross slopes, I'll show you a couple of pictures how they should be designed, because they play a major role, especially when a vehicle goes off the road surface onto the shoulder. So when I was talking about the forgiving roads, so this is something, if in case the driver accidentally lost control of his vehicle and went off the road, so he shouldn't be punished immediately. There should be some sort of mechanism where he could again gain control of his vehicle and come to a safer stop. So again, shoulder cross slopes also play a major role in that one, which we'll show you in a few slides after. So again, as you can see, the left side, it is very poorly maintained shoulder. As you can see, many of the vehicles, they're using it as a travel lane too. On the right hand side, obviously it is paved and it is well marked, so that people are using it for parking purpose, and they're not using it for traveling along. And this is other example where if the slopes are very steep, then obviously they have to be protected by crash barrier. If they are not, then a gradual road slope, then okay, sometimes instead of crash barriers, just the chevron markings might be enough. Okay, so this is something we should talk about. A clear zone means, as you can see from left to right, leftmost is the pavement where I'm traveling vehicle. So I have additional amount of shoulder where I can use in sort of either emergency or for if my vehicle went bad or something. So I can still use the shoulder part, but not as a travel lane. If in case the vehicle goes off the limits, so the next part you see is the recoverable slope. Means when the vehicle is traveling on this recoverable slope, there's still chance of the vehicle to get back onto the main travel way. So as you can see, it's really not that steep, but still the driver should be able to get hold of his vehicle, try to get it onto the main travel way. And after that, the next one is non-recoverable slope. So if again, worst case scenario, he will go under that. It should be in such a way that the vehicle will not roll over. So the vehicle might not be able to come to the main travel way, but still it should be able to come to a safe halt in this clear runoff area. As you can see, obstacle on the right. So I'm providing the vehicle enough space. First is on shoulder. Then I'm giving the driver to a chance to recover. Then even if he can't recover, I'm giving him a chance to stop. And still I'm giving some area on the right hand side as a buffer so that he won't go and hit the obstacle. So this is one of the main criteria for many fatal road crashes. As you can see, the particular vehicle hit into a tree because the tree is maybe too close to the travel path. So the driver didn't really have that much time or that possibility to steer back his vehicle onto the road surface. He just went and he hit the tree. And obviously a tree is a stationary object. So the damage to the vehicle will be at the highest severity level. So while coming to emissions, so far we're just talking about straight roads. So whether it's side distance or horizontal curves or vertical curves. So how about intersections? Again, there are 4 different categories of intersections depending on the priority of both the roads. So about 90% of intersections which we see on a daily basis, they come under at grade. That is, both the roads intersect at the same level, and there are grade separated and interchanges. And what are the different elements to consider in the road safety aspect? We'll try to see. The first one is at grade intersection. So if you can see, this graph shows the traffic flow on a minor road versus major road. And as you can see, the major road traffic, it's about from 0 to 50,000 vehicles per day. And on the minor flow, it's about 0 to 20,000 vehicles per day. So there's a certain portion where if it exceeds, then obviously it needs to go from priority to roundabout, signal, and finally, if the flow is beyond a certain threshold limit, then obviously I don't have any other choice other to go with a grade separation. So we'll quickly go through what's the priority, and again, we are aware of the roundabout or traffic circles. They are present in most of the cities nowadays, and we'll talk about slide about what are the traffic signals, the IRC code belonging to it, and finally the grade separation. And I'll show you a couple of grade separated interchanges that are present in our own country. Okay, as we talked about some of the aspects that has to be considered during design of the junction itself, especially because again, once I construct, it's very hard to correct. So before constructing or before designing the intersection itself, if it takes some amount of care, then with minimal changes in the future, the intersection can give much better results. Okay, so the first thing is I need to improve the ability to judge whether driving through the intersection, does it feel safe, or what are the other conditions that he has to consider. So instead of making two vehicles cross at a very acute angle, it's always good to make it obtuse angle so that the drivers will have a better visual each one of them and which direction they're heading to. And also the second example, I'll show you a classic example in Chennai, where I replace when about 4 or 5 roads are joining at a point. It is possible for a signal, but again, a roundabout would be a best option. And also, after a certain limit, even a roundabout can't take. So how do I go to the next level? I will show you with a classic example in our own country. And finally, channelizing islands. So when I'm approaching an intersection, the intersection area is something which is shared by traffic from all the directions. So if I make it more streamlined, that if I have some channelized islands, which will again promote the road safety aspect, as I am decreasing the head-on collision on individual roads. Only at the intersection I need to take care of. So again, channelizing islands play a major role, especially if you direct the traffic to go in a particular direction. Okay, again, at grade, the categories at grade means all the roads will be meeting at the same elevation level or same level. So again, priority junctions are the ones which we see about 90%. Roundabouts are there, and signals control intersections. So priority, these are very only accessible for very low flow. Again, most of our residential streets or residential with just outside the residential streets, whatever roads are going, so they might come under this category where the flows are really low. And here it's more like a categorization. There's a minor road and a major road. So minor road traffic might have some sort of delays, but again, those delays will be to a minimal level. And especially for the major road, the priority is always. But at the same time, the major road driver driving on the major road should have enough stopping side distance. So if in case he has to stop, he should be provided that too. But as I told you, the preference is given only to the major road, but still the driver should be given enough side distance. If in case of any mischief, he should be able to control his vehicle and bring to a complete stop. And some of the examples we have, Y junctions are relatively unsafe, whereas when compared to, so if there's a Y junction, I better prefer it making a T junction. It will have better control because especially there's a T junction, then the traffic has to really slow down and take a turn rather than going at a higher pace, which happens at a Y junction. And we have different codes. Again, IRC S41, which is mainly for at-grade intersections in the rural as well as in urban areas. Coming to the second category, which is roundabouts. So here, what we're talking about is not only the low, but also slightly medium flows, about 3,000 to 5,000 vehicles per hour, as you can see in this graph. Priority is the lowest level. So all the blue, it comes mainly the roundabouts. So in roundabouts, again, especially if there's turning volumes are high, let's say only 2 roads are crossing each other, and against major road and minor road, volumes from all the 4 sides are very similar. I can't categorize, okay, this road is minor, this road is major. Then obviously I have to give preference to almost all the sides of the road. So in such conditions, roundabouts are something which will be quite useful. And especially for places of intersections which have crooked roads. It not be coming at right angles to each other. So they might be at some angles, or there might be 5 or 6, many more roads. So the intersection will become more hard to maintain. So in such conditions, if the traffic is either in low or medium category, then roundabouts are something which we can really go, keeping in road safety aspect of view. And especially here also during off-peak times, the delay will be at the minimum level. On the sides, these are really not that much good for cyclists and pedestrians, because in a roundabout, the flow will always be continuous. So the vehicles will hardly stop. So they will slow down and they will take the maneuver and they leave the roundabout. But we are not stopping the vehicles to complete. So obviously, when there's a continuous flow around the roundabout, whether it's cyclist or bicyclist, they will have a hard time in crossing those roads. So that's some of the downside aspects of roundabout, but there have been innovative designs in roads too, where they have separated pedestrians from the regular vehicle traffic. So the regular vehicle traffic goes through, as well as the pedestrians also. They take either an overbridge or an underpass, so that their movement also need not be stopped. And again, we have IRC 65, 1976, but we have a latest version of this is mainly for the protests or roundabouts. And signal controls. So we came from low flow, next to low and medium flow, now to medium flow. So at medium flow, what happens is I have to keep controlling the intersection roads. So as most of you are aware of, at a signal, what happens is I'm going to control all the directions, and I'm going to give only priority to one direction to cross the intersection. So here, these mainly come into picture when the flows go as per after a certain threshold limit. Especially again here also, the main thing is I'm giving priority to only one direction, not on one road, but only one approach to that intersection. So that particular approach will be given green or something, so that they can clear the approach. Then I'll be going to the other direction or other approach of the road. But the only thing is here, I need to stop almost every vehicle. Let's say I have given green to one direction. All the other direction vehicles have to come to complete stop. So especially during peak hours or even during off-peak hours, maybe the minor roads, which might not have that much heavy traffic, but still I'm forced them to come to a complete stop, thereby increasing delays. And these are also cause for rear end crashes. Rear end crashes means if a vehicle going in front of me, if it comes to a sudden stop, maybe that particular driver couldn't judge and he thought, okay, he couldn't cross the road on yellow. So if you sudden stop, then the vehicle coming from behind will bump him into his rear. So that's a rear end crash. So especially traffic signal control intersections, this is one of the most common crashes that you'll see. This can be evident when you go to, you can see those tire marks, scratch mark, especially at the signal control intersections. And we do have, the thing is, especially to accommodate pedestrians, these are one of the best things, because as we talked about, roundabouts, it's very hard for us to accommodate. Either I have to construct a pedestrian overpass or an underpass. But especially if it's a traffic signal, then along with the vehicles, because I'm stopping all the other direction of vehicles, I'm allowing only one direction. So maybe there's a, I can provide, there's a provision where I can allow the pedestrians also to safely cross the road. So again, here also we have IRC 93, which mainly deals with how to design, install different types of road signals. And finally comes the high-end intersections. That is, here these are grade separated. One simple thing is maybe a flyover I can consider as a grade separated, whereas two traffic streams are going at two different levels. And especially these are only suggested when the traffic flows are really, really high. I really can't stop any one of those two roads. Then obviously I'll try to separate those two traffic streams. So minimal delays will be for the particular traffic. But on the flip side, the only thing is they're very expensive to construct. I'll show you some of the structures we have. As well, they require large area. So because I'm continuously allowing the vehicle to go, if they want to take a turn, so they'll be taking a turn at a certain amount of speed. So I need to provide those curves, everything on the graded intersections. So again, these are very expensive and they require large area. And when I'm talking about a non-stop flow using a flyover or interchange, I'm really not considering the pedestrian aspect, because if pedestrian comes into picture, then obviously the traffic has to stop, the pedestrian has to cross. So here again, pedestrian thing has to be dealt separately when I'm talking about grade separated intersections. I have a couple of pictures. So this is in Noida, UP, whereas this is more like a T intersection, but grade separated T intersection. So this one is a trumpet. So here, this road is Noida Expressway, and the other road is Agra Expressway. So as you can see, there's really no necessity for any traffic stream to stop. It's a continuously flow model. So this is again a traffic interchange, a trumpet interchange, which allows the traffic to flow constantly without any stoppage or delay. The second one, so this is a Cloverleaf intersection. So this is a roundabout in Chennai. So this is in 1990 or 2000 year. So as you can see here, I have about 1, 2, 3, 4 roads, but the roads are not in an organized manner. So they are in 4 different directions. And the other pattern you can see is I gave some bypass for some directions. But again, if the traffic, this island can sustain only up to a certain amount. If the traffic is heavier, let's say from all the directions, then obviously the roundabout will be clogged. So this interchange today, it looks like this. So once again, so you can see here I have 1, 2, 3, 4 roads, and today's intersection, this is the one. So here also again, the best part is it's a flow traffic. So everyone, almost all the traffic, it need not stop as long as there's no blockage on any of this way. So they can just move freely. So again, here, as the other aspect, as I told you, is the pedestrian aspect. As none of these roads, they encourage pedestrians to cross, because we are just letting the vehicles to go non-stop. So pedestrian has to be considered, has to be given a different thought or special thought to provide crossing facilities for them. So again, this is one classic example where roundabout can take up to a certain volume, but if it exceeds, then obviously I need to go with a grade separate section. And the other part you need to observe is you can see some of the buildings have been removed. The northwest corner, so to this corner, and there's a roundabout, I had these spaces here. So obviously, as there's the other flip side of it, I need to consume huge areas to construct these type of things, and obviously cost is the other aspect. So these are about the different intersections. Okay, now? Okay, so as we saw about different types of intersections, whether it's a priority, roundabout, or Madam Chairman.
Sir,
Sir, your presentation is not completely visible, sir. So you're
Now, ma'am?
no, sir. Fix whatever you're saying, those were not visible to us.
The roundabouts and the grade separated junctions, what you are not shown. It was not visible.
Yes, it was not visible.
Just, sir, let me change the setting of that, sir.
Back.
1 minute.
Yes.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Sir, let me change the setting of that.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Please mention super elevation and widening area. Sir. Hello, sir.
Sir.
Please mention percentage of super elevation on curve, sir.
Okay.
No, don't talk about it now. Then you can talk later.
Sir, yeah, can you?
Sir, మధ్యలో questions
Is it
వేయకండి.
visible right now?
Please don't put questions.
Sir, is it visible now?
Sir, I request everybody to mute your. I request everybody
Madam.
to mute your phones and please stop asking questions. We will ask Mukund sir to go back 2 slides and restart it because the slides are not visible. The audio is coming before the slide.
Okay.
Right.
From which slide, ma'am?
Junctions. The Chennai wrote a roundabout to explain. I mean, complex junction, and also the
Sir,
great
sir,
separation to explain. They're not
Okay,
visible.
sir. Sir. So now can you see it? Or?
Ma'am, everything is overlapping.
No, sir. It's not. We couldn't show people.
No, it's not visible. I think there's something wrong with the.
Madam, ఆ క్వశ్చన్స్ కూడా చాట్ లో పెట్టమని చెప్పండి. They are disturbing a lot.
Yes,
Questions
yes,
madam.
sir. Yes, sir. Sir, please
Sir,
don't
put it in
ask
the chat.
questions now, or please display them in the chat, please. Questions, whoever want to ask, please keep them in the chat. Don't ask now, please.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Request to
అసలు
everyone.
క్వశ్చన్స్ అడగమని చెప్పండి. No audio.
Request to everyone.
ఓన్లీ చాట్ ఎనేబుల్ చేయండి. చాట్ ఎనేబుల్ చేయండి. చాలు.
Okay,
Sir, is it visible right now?
No, sir. No, sir. Mukund sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. Now it is visible, sir. Please explain this again.
Okay, yeah, okay. This is the, ma'am, is it visible right now?
Yes, sir. Please, everyone, please mute yourself, please. Please don't ask any questions in between. Please add your questions in the chat box, please.
Ma'am, is it visible? This is the trumpet interchange.
Yes, sir. It is visible now.
Okay. Sir, so this is a trumpet interchange. It's nothing but a regular T interchange, T intersection, but making sure that none of them will stop. So everyone has their own path, go from one direction to the other direction. And this is again, this is in Noida, where the road going southwest to northeast is Noida Expressway, and this is the starting point of the Agra Expressway. Again, because these are two highways, two expressways, so obviously we can't expect the drivers to start from zero speed. So this design was made in such a way that the continuous flow of the traffic will be there without any stoppage. So this is the other intersection I was talking about. This is a clover leaf. I mean, this is a regular roundabout. This in Chennai, where I hope it is visible. We have 4 roads coming.
No, it's not visible.
Sir,
I'll just same slide, sir.
Was on my. Ma'am, I'll just make this picture complete full screen then.
Yes.
Ma'am, visible or not?
No, not yet.
So just because it is visible on my thing. Sir, I will share these 2 pictures then because they are quite interesting. I thought I will. That's the reason I kept this, because especially for a transformation from roundabout to this one. Is my PowerPoint visible right now?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Sir, I will include this 2 pictures separately then, because they are really interested to watch.
Sir, we can try, sir. Maybe you can.
What, ma'am?
Please try it once again, sir.
So try again. No, that's interesting to
Try it
watch now.
once. Ah, yes, please.
Yes, sir. Yes.
మ్యామ్ ఎవరిని మాత్రం క్వశ్చన్స్ అడగనీయకండి మ్యామ్.
అలాగే
One participant is disturbing a lot.
Sir,
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
I suggest
please mute yourself, please.
I suggest that we take a 2-minute break and ask Mukund sir to rejoin. Maybe this problem will be solved. I think it's a network issue.
Sir Mukund sir, you want to
Yeah.
rejoin?
Yeah, leave and rejoin also may come back.
Okay, ma'am. A couple of minutes then. I'll just check it out.
Yes.
If not, I'll try to project it on a board behind me and I'll let you know.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Participants, please mute yourself, and if you have any questions, please keep them in the chat box. And at last, we will have a discussion forum. Then you can ask one by one. Please. Vijaya ma'am. Ma'am, I think you can call sir once and you can ask him.
Yes. I just spoke to him. He's rejoining.
Yes. Okay.
Madam, is it visible?
Yes, sir. Sir, I can see trumpet interchange
Okay, awesome.
slide.
This one.
Next, sir, only that one is visible now. Yes, sir. The next slide.
Okay. Okay. So we'll start with trumpet, ma'am.
Okay. Then I think you have to go back, sir.
Yeah, I think the
Yes.
picture it's taking
Trumpet
maybe
interchange.
5 or 10 5 or
Yes.
5 or 10 seconds.
So you're comfortable now, sir?
Yeah, no problem. Yes, ma'am.
Continue, sir.
Yeah, sorry all regarding that. So this is the trumpet interchange I was talking about. So it's a regular T intersection, but because the both roads in the T intersections are two expressways, so obviously I need to provide a continuous flow of traffic from one road to the other road. So here, as you can see, whether from any direction to any direction, it's a non-stop free flow of traffic. So obviously, I have to provide multiple levels of road network. As you can see, the dark road from southwest to northeast. There's one more level on that, which is this Agra Expressway, and there's one more road. So it's about 3 or 4 different levels of roads we have in the same intersection. Hope it is clear. I'll go with the next one. Is this visible?
Yes, sir. Next slide. Now the next slide came, sir. So your voice is a bit staggered, sir.
Yeah, but I'm on LAN only, ma'am. It's okay. I will go slow.
Okay, sir. Fine. Continue.
So again, this is in Chennai. So this roundabout. Again, this in between 1995 to 2000, and as you can see, all the 4 roads are from 4 different directions, and maybe one road can be considered as a main road. The other 2 are more like residential streets. So up to a certain extent, this is a good initiative because roundabout will decrease confusion where all the vehicles will be going in the same direction. A few conflict points, and there won't be any head-on collisions. But the main problem is when the traffic volume increases. Even in this picture, you can see the traffic coming from bottom left corner. So that direction, you can see some good amount of traffic, which is leading to congestion at that place. So imagine a similar situation is happening on all the other roads too. So it is time to go upgrade this particular thing to the next level because it can take only up to a certain volume, the roundabouts. Once the importance of these roads increasing, then obviously the traffic increases and thereby the priorities has to change. So this particular intersection today, it looks something like this. I'll just wait till it uploads. Is it visible?
No, sir. Slide did not change, sir.
It will. Did it change, ma'am?
No, sir. Net is very slow, sir.
Because I am in the lab only, ma'am. I'm sitting in my computer lab.
Okay, okay.
I will go to the next topic. I'll come back to this by the end of this presentation.
Fine, sir. Your wish, sir. Please. Yes, sir. Now slide is visible, sir. I think you can continue.
Okay. Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The clover leaf.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is again change. Previously you saw a roundabout. Now the same has been upgraded to this clover leaf intersection, where again all the roads have been given equal priority. None of the traffic need to stop, and but as it is available, you require huge amount of area and also very high funds to construct something of this sort. The previous slide, where a roundabout is there was a residential neighborhood on the top left, but no, that has been replaced by one of the arms of the clover leaf. Okay, I will go on to the next slide, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes.
Participants, please mute yourself. One of the participants, please. There is a lot of disturbance from your side. Sir, please continue, sir. Mukund, sir.
Okay, I'll just talk about a minute about the safe road environment. So when can I call a safe road environment? What is its requirement? So if you see this particular slide, the safe road infrastructure design, it doesn't mean only I design a particular road and I construct it and it's done. It's more like a repetitive process. Whereas on the left-hand side, you see the road infrastructure systems that have been designed. The main important point is from the historical knowledge of similar road environments. So because some safe road has worked at some other place, I just can't import it here and I can't expect it to work immediately. So again, I require historical knowledge and I need to compare the road conditions, whereas that road conditions, this road conditions are the same. So only then I can come up with a good design that is more valid and applicable to our road conditions. So that is one aspect. And once the road has been designed by taking this historical knowledge into aspect, the other aspect is when it is open for traffic and its traffic is going on it. So how good or how bad the traffic is going on, or what are there any constraints? Are there any safety aspects? They have to be continuously monitored. So both of these components combinedly consist of the safe road infrastructure design. So I really can't leave any one of them. Both of them, they are repetitive. So the road has to be designed taking the local conditions into picture is one part, as well as the second part is once it is constructed also how it's doing on. So I have to validate both of these together to completely come up with a safe road infrastructure design. So this is again about what's the main requirement beyond that. Where do I take care of safety aspect? Is it during planning or design or construction or after construction? We will see from this. This is a pre-step of the road safety audit. So when I'm talking about road safety, it's not only once it is open to traffic, it has to be considered at initial planning stages itself, or and as well as design stages and during construction and during maintenance and operation. So road safety aspect is something which has to be dealt at different steps of a project. So every step has its own importance and its own value. So unfortunately nowadays, after the road has been constructed and once the road opens, then we are working on the road safety aspect, like why are the accidents happening at this point, why is there's a concern at other point like a black spot or something. So if these were taken care of in the initial stages itself, then obviously these roads must have been done much better nowadays. So the main point to take away here is road safety aspect has to be an integral part right when I start my planning process. Okay, I want to come with a road from here to here. So from that point itself, I need to consider the road safety into picture. So so we'll just see how road safety can be integrated in different stages. So first one is planning stage. That is when initially planning a road. I will show you an example also here. For example, if you take the previous example where you saw the clover leaf and the roundabout. So land use plays an important pattern, as you saw when you want to consider clover leaf, obviously require more area. So initially itself, if you can have that area, then obviously construction of a clover leaf would be easy. So land use has to be controlled during the initial stages, because during planning itself, I'll say, okay, here a road comes, here my residential neighborhood, here commercial neighborhood. So during those planning stages itself, it has to be taken into consideration. One of the best example is especially if a highway is going through a city and I'm upgrading the highway, let's say to a 6-lane or an 8-lane. A classic example, again, Visakhapatnam, if we take right now, I have a 4-lane highway which goes to the heart of the city. And now the new 6-lane road, which is the latest one, it doesn't go through the heart of the city, it is bypassing the city. So that's, again, it mainly considering the road safety aspect into picture. Because ideally speaking, most of the traffic which goes from, let's say, Kolkata to Chennai, it need not pass through the Visakhapatnam city. So by providing a bypass for them, and maybe I will link them with some link roads to the main city, but at least when I bypass the main truck traffic, the congestion on my road decreases to considerable extent. And also creating a self-contained zone means if there's an area where I can provide like some sort of commercial activity, some sort of park area or recreational area and residential, all of these are combined, then people really need not come out of that area all the time. Let's say if I have a residential area at one spot and recreational area are quite far away, then I'm encouraging people to travel that distance to access a recreational spot. So if I'm creating a self-contained zone, means that particular zone contains different land uses. Really, or then I'm really encouraging the people to stay in their area itself. They need not really go outside. Similarly, non-institutional traffic, they need not come to their neighborhood. Only it will be serving people in their particular neighborhood. So this is again during the planning stage. If you take care, this is how it happens. The second one is design stage. So I planned the road between two places. Okay, I made sure that it won't have any road safety concern. Now, while designing, what are the aspects I have to cover? So here I'll just give a slide about what are self-explaining roads and what are forgiving roads, not sorry roadside, it's forgiving roads. And initially also we talked about, just because I'm providing the minimum design standards, I really can't conclude that this road is perfectly safe. So I need to go slightly beyond the minimum standards to make sure that the particular road is more safer to drive on. Again, design means we mainly consider these other things: design speed, horizontal, vertical geometry, cross-sectional elements, and how do I design intersection, if it's an add grade or if it's a grade separated. So these are the aspects when I'm designing itself, and I shouldn't really stick to the bare minimum. I need to go a step higher to make sure that the safety aspect is also covered in it. The next one is, as we're talking, self-explaining roads. So this is a concept which originated in around 1960s and 70s, that is Netherlands. And how this works is the type of the road the driver drives on. The driver will be accustomed to that type of road. So if I'm taking, let's say, an expressway or a highway, then the facilities or the feature on that highway I provide in such a way that the driver will feel that, okay, he's driving on an expressway. Or if there's another road which has very low speed and a different type of setting. So by driving on the road itself, the driver will feel, okay, this is not a high speed facility, this is a low speed facility. So the type of the road itself should explain the driver the way he behaves or the way he drives. So this is self-explaining roads, means the road itself will explain the driver or will control the driver's behavior. So again, as the last point, the driver should perceive the type of road and instinctively know how to behave. Means the road gives a message to the driving saying that, okay, this is how you have to drive on a particular road. For example, if you have a 4-lane road or a 6-lane road, and if I keep a 20 kilometer, 30 kilometer speed limit, obviously the drivers will not follow that because they feel more comfortable and the road invites them to drive at much more higher speeds. So again, the type of the road, it gives a message to the driver how to drive. Those are self-explaining roads. The next one is forgiving roads. This is something which we talked about before. Forgiving road is, how does the road forgive? For example, a driver is driving and something unfortunately happened. Again, accidents do happen accidentally, so it's not intentionally. So should the road be in such a punishing manner that the severity will be very high, or the road should take some component of the accident and it should make sure that it will forgive the driver's mistake to some extent. So that concept again, this one is also in 1960s. This is mainly practiced in some areas of Netherlands as well as United States. So once the accident happens, how can I reduce the damage to the driver or vehicle? Maybe I need to implement some measures where the severity of the accident can happen. So severity of the accident can decrease. So this is main thing is, okay, how do I provide additional facilities on the road? So even though the vehicle goes in a wrong manner, the road still should forgive the vehicle and make the damage minimal. So here the main components, again, especially if there are any dangerous obstacles very close to the road. As in our conditions, we have many trees which are just maybe 1 or 2 meters or maybe 5 meters away from the road surface. Obviously, when a vehicle loses the control, it will go off the road, and if there's a stationary object such as a huge old tree, it will be a devastating effect on the vehicle as well as the driver. So such things can be taken care of while in the design stage itself. Like if in case something happens, how can I protect the driver to some extent? Or if there are some areas where there is a high priority that crashes can happen, can I keep a crash barrier or crash cushions? Nowadays, you see those big drums that can take the crash effect. So if in a particular location, if some sort of crash might be expected, then obviously I need to take them during the design stage itself. I need to make sure that those locations are safe. And again, the other one is supplementary of load shoulders with moderate slopes. As I told you, if the road shoulders are too steep, then there's even if the vehicle comes off the road shoulder, then there's a high possibility for the vehicle to roll over. So if they are less steeper, then obviously I'll have it's more like the road is forgiving the driver even if he's going on the slope. So he'll still have a chance to come onto the main pavement and continue his journey. And there are some other things like warning system to wake up the drivers. Nowadays, we see the transverse rumble strips whenever the intersection comes. National Highways installing them on a large scale, especially on the National Highway 16. You see this yellow color strips in the last 2 weeks they have installed. So they cause inconvenience to some extent, which is true, but the inconvenience is conditionally caused because we want to alert the driver, even if he's, let's say, talking to someone else or talking on a phone or something, and if he's not paying attention, the road itself and is driving his vehicle on those transverse rumble strips, he will get this small jerking sound on his car, so which wakes him up or which alerts him that there's some intersection coming or something is happening. That's what I'm being warned. So rather than a regular sign which is right next to the road which says intersection ahead, the driver might not even look at the road sign if he's on phone or something else. So especially these measures, they give a caution to the drivers, like you miss something or something is coming ahead. So again, all these concepts have to be considered during the design stage itself, rather than like they are doing it right now after the construction, and when an accident is happening, they're installing that. So it would be really beneficial if they consider all these aspects during the design stage itself. And construction, we see nowadays they are taking enough care of all the construction zones. They're keeping some cones, they're keeping some safety measures. But all the new projects, whether it's highway expansion or state highway or national highway, they have to be really strictly confirm this IRCSP 55, which mainly gives the guidelines on how to manage the traffic in work zones. Work zones is where construction is going on. Maybe from 2 lanes to 1 lane